Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another video. So, as I mentioned before, I will be starting this part of the video by talking about baking, right? So, I'm sure you all know what baking is, right? Like making cakes, cupcakes, cookies, etc. So, everyone has their story for how they made baking their hobby. Today, I will tell you mine. I will also be showing some of the desserts I've made over the years. So with that, let's get started. Alright, so I started baking at a young age. Now I didn't physically start doing the works of baking, rather I started by cleaning up the mixing bowl. And by cleaning up the mixing bowl, what I mean is by eating the remaining batter that didn't get poured out. So basically, I'm just cleaning the remains by eating them instead of washing them. I did this a lot. So every time when I find my grandmother in the kitchen doing some baking, I would always go in and ask, "Are you done? I want to clean the bowl." And I can't exactly remember what age this was, but if I remember correctly, my grandmother did decide to teach me how to make a cake after a few months of cleaning the mixing bowl. So the first cake I helped make was a standard butter cake. It didn't have any fancy ingredients or toppings or decorations, but I also sadly do not have a picture of my first cake, because at that time I didn't have a phone that could take a picture, or if I did, I probably didn't have it with me because I was young. Okay, don't judge me. However, besides learning the process and steps on how to bake a cake, I learned something else too, and that is to always keep your work environment clean. During my first time in the kitchen, when my grandma showed me and wanted me to she told me what to do and I did it, I made quite a mess in the kitchen as I didn't know much, and I did it by remembering how my grandmother did it. Obviously I was young, so it was all see and then try to follow. So she taught me how to work and keep the place clean at the same time, which is a practice I still do today, be it in baking, cooking, or even in general. I enjoy keeping my workplace clean. So after a few years after the first time of me learning how to bake cake, I was like, I should try and make a cake on my own without my grandmother's help. So, well, safe to say I did it, and but not without looking aesthetically weird, odd, or bad. Well, some of them did turn out pretty, really pretty, and some of them turned out kind of odd, that let's just say it's weird beyond weird. It came out the way that I did not expect it to come out. I'm just guessing maybe it's because of the oven that I use. I'm purely guessing at this point. So anywho, as more time passes, I slowly but surely improve myself. I mean, when you do something at the beginning, obviously it's not gonna be perfect. You cannot do something perfectly in an instant. I mean, unless you're God, but we aren't God. So as time went on, I slowly made better cakes, better looking cakes, adjusting to how I actually got used to how the weird oven worked. It's an old oven, but I managed to get used to how the heating works so that I could set the temperature right and the cakes would come out nicely. So I went from making cakes and cupcakes that essentially look weird but taste good to ones that look good and taste good. And yeah, so with that, I shall show you guys a timeline. It's just a few shots. I didn't really want to go the entire, I have way too much, but I'm picking the key ones in the key moments where I felt like I improved. So this is all according to dates taken, right? But they're not there are gaps because I didn't want to take everything because they didn't show much improvement. So I took ones according to the dates that show a lot of improvement, including my first cake. So this is the first one, an orange flavored cake with what I'm guessing is vanilla icing and some rainbow sprinkles. I'm not sure if it's vanilla icing because I don't really remember what I use. Funny enough, I didn't even write it down, so I was just guessing, but I know it's an orange flavored cake because that's just what I wrote in the notes. Orange flavored, orange cake. But somehow I didn't really, at that time when I posted on Instagram, I didn't really put in what icing I used, which is weird. I don't know why. I mean, that was years ago. So it looks weird. I am not gonna lie. It looks weird because I didn't know how to ice the cake. Like I know how to do it now, but at that time I didn't know how to do it very well. So the second cake is the chocolate ganache cake. Now the cake itself is chocolate and the icing is chocolate ganache. And this cake was also made to sell. So one of my church members ordered a cake from me. They wanted something grand, something. Well, chocolate is grand, so that's what came to my mind. But they wanted something grand, and they wanted something like it stands out, like something they've never tasted before or tried. Okay, I don't know if they tasted chocolate ganache, but to me, it felt like they didn't. So that's what I went with. And I sold this cake too. And next up is vanilla cherry cake with vanilla icing. So this is a recipe my mom found on the internet that seems interesting to try. I don't remember if I made this to sell or made this to just eat or give away. Yes, I did give away cakes to some people, like for family members. Unless they specifically want to buy from me, then that's a different story. Then next is the apple crumble cake, which, if I remember correctly, I made this for an occasion. I can't remember which occasion though, but I remember I was supposed to go to an event, like an informal event or something. Though I can't really remember which informal event. So let's just go with I made it for an event or an occasion, but I just don't remember which one. And then next comes my first ever attempt at cupcakes. So cupcakes are different as ingredients, amount, like the amount of ingredients to use, like the grammage and stuff. The bake time and bake temperatures are different because they're smaller and they don't need to bake as long as regular cakes. So fast forward to recent days, and this is what I call Mother's Day cupcakes. I made it for my church here in Canada in celebration of Mother's Day 2019. It's if I remember, it's just a normal vanilla cake, vanilla based cupcakes with rose pink vanilla icing that I made into a rose. Yeah, rose pink vanilla icing that I made into a rose. Yeah, let's just go with that. Okay, I don't know what I'm saying. And finally, we come to my finest work yet. Well, this is what I would call a multi-layered Hershey's chocolate cupcake. So the base itself, which is the cupcake, is made using Hershey's chocolate. And inside the cupcake, I cut out like a small bit and I stuffed in melted Hershey's chocolate, followed by Hershey's chocolate bites, and topping it off with Hershey's chocolate icing, sprinkled with Himalayan pink salt. Now this is by far my best work yet because I spent a lot of time learning how to make cupcakes that stand out and how to ice cakes that look very aesthetically pleasing. So this might be my best work yet, but you know, more to come as I will experiment more and more and I will constantly improve. So basically this is my baking journey. Now we might have come to the end of the segment and we will be back next week for more. I can't remember which one, I think next week is photography, I think. But before ending, I just want to say a great thank you to my grandmother for teaching and guiding me in the art of baking. Well, indeed, I have graduated, you know, like past the simple traditional ways of baking, doing it by hand, doing it manually. Let's just say doing things the old way. But I will never forget, as she was the one who ignited my passion for baking in the beginning. Because of her, I was able to do what I can do today. It was because of her that I want to improve myself in this hobby because I enjoy making things for people to eat, and it brings me joy when people enjoy eating what I make. So yeah, thank you once again for stopping by and just watching this short video, and I will see you all in my next video, also coming out next Sunday, because I have to like write the script and plan the timeline and stuff. So with that, I bid you guys farewell, and I will see you next week.